All right, let's get into our final segment here, Ryan. Let's do a wrestler spotlight.
Yeah. Went old school this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Very old school.
This might be a guy
Probably,
some people probably have never even heard of.
uh, younger wrestling fans, I would say yes.
All right, we are going to talk about one of Jerry Lawler's best rivals slash partners slash everything. We're going to talk superstar Bill Dundee, the Aussie.
Yeah, what's cool about him is, not only, with the Jerry Lawler and stuff, he never got real big or nothing. Like, well, no, he wasn't real big in stature anyway, but yeah, he never got real big in wrestling, like promotion wise. He never went to a big promotion.
Yeah.
But I gotta say he's probably one of the first Australian wrestlers to be a big name.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was. I mean, granted, this is way before our time. And so we don't really have many memories of Bill Dundee because, this was way before our time. But our dad grew up watching Bill Dundee and used to tell us about him and all his matches. So he was massive in the Memphis territory for so long. And his son actually ended up wrestling too. So let's get into this. The career of Bill Dundee.
Yeah. I'd say how many belts has Bill Dundee won, right?
Oh, he's won a lot, honestly. Which is crazy because let me see if I can figure this out. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 championships
Good
throughout his
Lord.
career. Obviously, a lot of those are just, nothing major, no major companies, no WWE, no WCW, no NWA. Um, just a lot of minor championships throughout the country and also over in um, Australia as well.
Yeah, what did he win in Australia, Ryan? Because we
He
never hear about his Australian career.
he won. This got to be. This is a joke. He won the Wombat Wrestling Television Championship.
Oh gosh. I'm starting to regret my asking of this question.
Wombat Wrestling. Other than that, I think that's all he did in Australia because I think he came over to
Jesus
America.
Christ. Well, you just led me down that. You
Yeah, I did
just
that on
suckered me into
purpose.
that.
Well, I don't know
Son of
because
a.
like some World Class Wrestling Association, that's not Australia. I think everything else is in America. So yeah, he was just a one-time Wombat Wrestling Television Champion.
Oh my God. All right, let's talk to his good stuff here. Ryan. Let's talk about his feud and partnership with Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, because he actually won tag team titles with Jerry Lawler as well. Um, he was a three-time. He won the USWA World Tag Team titles with Jerry Lawler twice, and then he won the AWA uh, World Tag Team titles with Jerry Lawler once. So, but then he also feuded with Jerry Lawler for the USWA Southern Heavyweight Championship. Him and Lawler went back and forth. One of the probably, if you look back on the history of Memphis Championship Wrestling and all that, the Jerry Lawler Bill Dundee feud is probably one of the biggest feuds that they had uh in the history. Like they were feuded for years.
Absolutely. Yeah, they feuded for years. They partnered for years. They those two were intertwined for sure
Yes,
in Memphis
yes.
wrestling. What other belts did he win in Memphis, Ryan? Did he win? I don't even know what other belts they had
Well,
in.
the United States Wrestling Association was the Memphis, Tennessee. It was their title. He won the World Tag Team titles, like I said, three times, twice with Jerry Lawler, once with his son. He won the USWA Texas Heavyweight Championship three times. He won the Junior Heavyweight Championship twice, and then he won the Unified World Heavyweight Championship once.
Oh wow.
That was the title, I think, when Lawler put the AWA and USWA titles together.
Oh, okay.
And then that was the title after. In the 80s and 90s, that became the world title in USWA. Up
Okay.
until that point, they had the Southern title, and then it kind of got, I don't know. The title history is so fucking
It's nuts, dude. If
confusing.
you try to go through all these territories, because what happened was a lot of these territories, they recognized the NWA championship as the world heavyweight championship, but
Yeah.
they also wanted their own. So sometimes they would, like you said, they would somehow make a world championship, even though So it was very confusing back then.
Yeah. They had so many different titles and so many companies go together. And then, because like USWA had a Texas heavyweight champion, a Southern heavyweight champion. Like, it, it was like they had their own, I don't know. Everything's back. I'm so glad we have wrestling the way it is today because this shit's
I
so.
mean, it was kind of cool back then. Like I wish I would have grew up back then just to see. I mean, it was harder because like you only saw your area. You
Yeah.
couldn't. There was no national TV.
Yeah. We,
Like
we
there
would
was.
have watched USWA back then because that's all we had.
Yeah, yeah. There was no NWA TV channel or TV show. So if you saw the world champion, it was very rare. It was very rare when it happened. So when it did happen, everybody watched it. Like if Ric Flair or Harley Race came into town and was there for a little while,
Yeah.
those were the highest rated probably shows of that time. And so it was different. It was different, but I kind of like it. I kind of like it because it it was a time period when wrestling felt real. Everybody was into it, and you had all these different territories. So you had a lot of wrestlers had a lot of different options back then.
Yeah.
But just to go back to Bill Dundee, he was a smaller guy. He gave guys that were like my height a chance to be. You see him wrestle and you think, huh, maybe I could do this.
Smaller, dude. He was 5'2".
I know. Okay, so he's 5 inches shorter than I am, but
I mean, God.
I mean, but he didn't wrestle like it.
Yeah. Oh, he was good. Like you go back and watch his shit, man. He was.
Him and Lawler punched the fuck out of each other.
Yes.
Like, if you want to know how to throw a wrestling punch, you fucking watch these guys because they just somehow they didn't hurt each other. I don't know how.
Well, I'm sure they did a little bit, but
Yeah, I mean, because they were fucking throwing haymakers.
yeah. Watching their matches, man, it was bloody and they just beat the shit out of each other for 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, he made his American debut in 1975 at a NWA Mid America event in Memphis, Tennessee.
Right.
And then he kind of never left. He just kind of stuck around in Memphis and Louisville for the rest of his career. He just was always there. It was so. I mean, I guess because he was height, maybe is what held him back. And
Right.
by the time the national companies came around, he was already older. But it's so weird that he never even wrestled in WWE, like ever. Like never had a shot, or even WCW. I don't think he ever wrestled either. Kind of weird.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Like you would think all the stuff he did, but yeah, he was wrestling in USWA in the '90s still. Like he was
He
still
could.
wrestling in, like he never left. He just stayed in
I think.
business.
I think he wasn't much of a talker, and I think that may have held him back
Yeah,
from ever
probably.
coming to at least from coming to WWF anyway. Because you know how Vince McMahon was back then. He didn't. If you couldn't talk, he didn't want you.
Yeah. But he wrestled all the way up. I mean, into the '90s, he was still wrestling in USWA, wrestling in bull rope matches and for world titles. And a weird stat that I just found out: he was the second ever OVW heavyweight champion.
Wow.
He held it for 7
Wow.
days, but he was the
Wow.
second ever champion
Interesting.
in 1997.
That's insane.
I saw OVW and I was like, that can't be the same. Like, but no, yeah, he won it a battle royal in Jeffersonville, Indiana on November 16th, 1997 to become the second ever champion. And then he dropped it to Rip Rogers 7 days later.
Wow.
But technically he was OVW heavyweight champion.
Well, that just blew my mind.
His last match, by the way,
Oh
was
God.
in 2019. He wrestled at Knoxville, Tennessee. He teamed up with Bo James, George South, and Stanley and lost to Bobby Fulton, Brad Thomas, Ryan Dukey, and Shane Williams in an 8-man tag.
Ryan Dukey.
Yeah.
That's the guy we watched in fucking Kentucky.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was his last match, was 2019. He wrestled for GCW at times in 2019. He wrestled 5 matches in 2019. So
That's insane, dude.
he wrestled in Evansville, Indiana in 2019 in a battle royal.
That blows my mind.
Yeah. Other than that, he retired for a long, but he was still like consistently wrestling into the 2000s, like even like 2003, 2005. Like he was still wrestling, not all the time, but he was still having matches. And he is now 80, which means he
Yeah,
wrestled in 2019, which means he was in his 70s.
that's
What the
that's insane.
fuck? Like
That's insane.
these old dudes just don't give it up, man. They just keep going. I think he does currently his son, by the way, if you know, he was JC Ice.
Yeah, he's one of the
Yeah,
PG-13.
PG-13. He was in WWE for a little bit, and then he also was in TNA and WCW and stuff. But his son said that he's actually has dementia now. So
No, you know,
so I don't know how much longer we're gonna have Bill Dundee around, honestly.
yeah.
But yeah, like I said, this is a hard one to talk about because we never really watched his matches.
No, but I feel like it was a good one to talk about because I don't
Yeah,
feel like Bill Dundee hardly ever gets talked about.
he definitely should get more recognition for what he did. Like I said, him and Jerry Lawler kind of probably kept that promotion alive throughout the 70s.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Just them teaming and then them wrestling and then them doing all that stuff. I'm sure those two are one of the reasons why that company was even around for as long as it was, because those two wrestled all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bill Dundee, I don't know if he would ever get a, Hall of Fame nod, but definitely should be talked about more in the history of wrestling for what he's done for the business and being around for as long as he has.
I feel like he should be, maybe not the WWE Hall of Fame, but there is like a Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame out
Yeah, I
there
don't know if
somewhere.
he should be in that if he's not already. He should be in the Pro Wrestling
Yeah.
Hall of Fame. Like that's kind of ridiculous. He's in the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame, but he's not in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, which is a shame.
That's a bullshit. Yeah, that's all right. Maybe our episode here maybe our episode can strum up some hype for Bill Dundee getting
All
into
right,
that Hall
Nathan,
of Fame before he passes away.
I want to ask you a question. What year do
Yep.
you think Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee had their final match with each other, against each other?
1988.
2011.
Oh my God. I would have been afraid to watch that.
They wrestled with Dutch Mantell as a special referee. They wrestled at a event in Nashville, Tennessee. Like a special tribute show. They wrestled in 2011, Jerry Lawler versus Bill Dundee. I
Oh my
can't
God.
imagine that match went very long. It was very good.
Yeah, but God, I'd be scared to
But they
watch
also
it.
wrestled in 2009. They wrestled each other in 2005. They wrestled a tag team match with each other in 2015.
Oh my God.
They just couldn't stop. Like they wrestled each other like all the time. They were tag team
Yeah.
champions together in 1999 in some company
That's
called PPW.
that's crazy.
So those two they were just with each other forever. You think Jerry Lawler, you gotta think Bill Dundee because they were two with each other the whole time.
All right.
I'm looking through here, and it's like they had so many matches, either with each other or against each other. They've had to wrestle each other like hundreds of times,
Oh yeah,
probably thousands of times. I mean,
that's crazy.
but yeah. So Bill Dundee, obviously, yeah, he was probably one of the first, if not the first, like Australian to come over and really make a name for himself over
Uh,
here.
what was that? What was that weird tag team? The something Kangaroos. They may have been one of the first, but you know.
Well, the Bushwhackers too, but I think
Oh
Bill
yeah,
Dundee came
they
before
were from
them.
New Zealand. Yeah, they were. Yeah, oh, he was way before them.
But I mean, they made it to WWE, so I guess maybe they'd be the
Yeah, they'd probably be the front runners for Australians, but they, I mean, making it to WWE and losing every match is something. I don't know. I think Bill Dundee's more of the face of Australia to me.
yeah. I'm just looking back and I'm loving all these matches because they had Jerry Lawler defeated Bill Dundee in a hair versus car match. Bill Dundee defeated Jerry Lawler in Bill Dundee's hair versus Jerry Lawler's manager's hair. They had a car versus hair death match. Then they had a hair versus hair match. And then they had a Jerry Lawler's hair versus Bill Dundee's wife's hair match. Just what the fuck?
Wow.
And those were all in the same year.
What is with all the hair stuff and cars?
I don't know. And there were also title matches too. So like they were also putting
Jesus Christ, that's insane.
They were
man.
all in 1977. Every one of those matches took place in the same year. So did they keep losing their hair and then grow it back out
Grow
and
it back.
lose it again?
Well, I mean, obviously, a couple of them they just lost their car for some reason. So,
Yeah.
oh my god,
I just thought that
that's
was funny.
insane.
Looking
That
back
is
there.
funny.
All right. So, any other thoughts on Bill Dundee before we wrap this up?
No, I think we covered everything, and I think I think he's definitely one of the people we definitely needed to talk about. So
Yeah. We all like to shine a light on Bill Dundee. Like I said, I think it was one of our dad's like favorite wrestlers back in the day.
Yeah.
He used to talk about him all the time, so I figured we'd give him his flowers, as I guess is now the thing to do in wrestling. Everyone keeps talking about giving people flowers, so we're gonna give Bill Dundee his flowers. All right. So thank you for joining us for another week of fantastic stuff here on the YouTube channel or the whole podcast over there on Spotify. But thank you for joining us. Next week we're going to be having our Dynasty review, and we'll see how that goes. And then some other fun stuff on tap for you guys. Hope you all have a fantastic week of professional wrestling. He is Nathan. I am Ryan. Thank you for joining Squared Circle Speak, and we will see you in the next one.
later.
I hope you all enjoyed this wrestler spotlight on superstar Bill Dundee, a legend from Memphis Wrestling, and will no doubt one day be in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, hopefully. Him and Jerry Lawler, epic battles back in the day. If you haven't watched one of their matches, go watch them right now. Next week, we're going to be having some draft stuff. We're going to be having a fancy booking and our Dynasty review. Thank you so much for watching this week. We appreciate you. See you next time.